Hi guys, it's Jane. Today, unlike the other videos, I will actually be explaining some words that they used in the Joseon Dynasty that you might see used in like different period dramas like 사극. I was a bit concerned that viewers, especially from other countries, might not understand what they mean because, you know, some of them are really old words and we don't use them anymore in Korea. And I actually made a list, but it's quite long, so I think I might need to separate this video into 2 or 3 different parts. And if you see me looking down, it's because I need to read off the list that I have in front of me, so just to let you know of that. And I think I talked too much in this one, so let's go! Alright, so part 1. Well, I wish I didn't have to look at this list, but I have short-term memory, so... First off, let's start with abba mama. You might hear this a lot when a little prince is calling his father, abba mama, abba mama. And this is a term of address that a royal child, like a prince or princess, might use to call their father. And the next few actually might be a little bit complicated and tough to understand because they all sort of sound the same. First of all, let's start with 애기씨. 애기씨 is another way of saying 아가씨, which is something that the servants of the household would call the daughter of their master. And an even more shortened version of it is 아씨. Now, why this gets complicated is because in the palace, the princess would also be called 아기씨. So if we go over it again, 아가씨 is for a noble lady, and 아기씨 is for a princess. Very complicated, but you'll get it. Next off on my list, I have 아우, which is an old-fashioned term for 동생, or little sibling. They didn't actually use it that much, but it's still good to know. Next, we have 빙봉, which is what some people would use to call the crown princess, who is the crown prince's wife, which I don't think I needed to explain. But anyways, you could have also called her 세자빈, but it was also common, especially for the queen and the queen dowagers, to call their daughter-in-law or granddaughter-in-law 빙봉. And the next is 부부인, which would be the wife of a grand prince. So basically, the wife of a legitimate son of the king. Alright, so the next one is 빈, which is actually a title for the concubine of the first rank. So basically, it's the highest rank that you could achieve being the concubine of the king. And the next is 부원군. I feel like I'm going really fast right now. 부원군, this is what you would call the father of the queen. It's a title that they would get for, you know, being the queen's dad. Next, this one is actually quite easy to remember. It's 처자. 처자, you might hear it a lot in 사극s when some male is addressing the female lead. She might call 어쩌고저쩌고 처자. 처자, it means an unmarried young lady. Yeah, very simple. The next one, it's very important, especially when you're watching a drama, 대비. It's the queen dowager and the wife of the previous king. And if you add mama, which is what you put at the end to address a royal's title. If you say 대비 mama, it means queen dowager. And then the next one you'll hear a lot, like really a lot, is 대감. 대감 is basically like your excellency. It's a title that people would use to, you know, call the upper ministers of usually the first or second rank. And they would also usually put 대감마님. And 대감마님 is basically the same as 대감, but used by the servants more often. The next on our list is 대군. 대군 is basically a prince, but you have to be careful between 대군 and 군 because the 대 here means, if you're Chinese, it's 큰 대, 따. So basically it means like big prince, but not literally big prince. It means the legitimate son of the king. And 군 is just for an illegitimate son of the king, basically with a concubine, which really, you know, kind of separates their rank between a legitimate and illegitimate child. And then the next one is 대왕, or great king. You'll hear this with kings like 세종대왕. It's basically a title that you use to describe either a king that was like particularly great or just any deceased king. If you want to, you can put it after their name. And then 대왕대비. It's different to Taebi or Taebi Mama, like I explained before. It is Grand Royal Queen Dowager. So basically, it's a formal title used to address the wife of a deceased king, but it's a bit different than Taebi because she would be higher in place or age or title than the other consorts. And then the next one would be 동궁. You might have heard this when people describe the crown prince, because 동궁 is the East Palace, basically, if I was to translate it literally. 동궁, like 동궁전, means East Palace, and it is the place where the crown prince would live. And it could also be used as a way of addressing the crown prince, but if you were a servant or anyone lower in rank than him, don't even try to call him 동궁 or 동궁전, because that was considered really rude. So basically, the only people who could actually call him 동궁 was his mom, his grandma, his dad, or his grandfather. TMI, but anyways. And my last word for today is turian님, or young master. This one comes up really, really frequently in movies and dramas in Korea, like 사극. And basically, it's just a way of addressing your master's son. Basically, like the noblemen or noble boys. Yeah, like young rich boys who has a high-ranking minister father. Actually, you don't even have to be high-ranking as long as you have like that noble bloodline. Then yeah, and you were a son, if you were a male, they would probably call you 도련님. So that was it for today with the words from the Joseon Dynasty Part 1. And hopefully you liked this and this helped you learn some new words. And see you next time. Bye!